Good morning, everybody, fellow listeners on across all platforms. We're incredibly excited to welcome you guys back to the episodes. This is our second episode, fresh out of World Cup. How do you feel, guys?
Quite good. Finally, Argentina got defeated.
Yeah, Spain actually played a really good game, but credits to Argentina for such a good World Cup. But at the end, Spain was the better team. They 100%
Zero
deserved
shots
it.
on target. Argentina zero shots on target.
Yeah, zero shots on target. That was pretty embarrassing. But today.
Yeah, so I'm sure most of us are quite happy in the celebration right now, but what if beneath just this happy, joyful facade, there's a darker truth that lies beneath? Every World Cup tournament, millions of football jerseys gets discarded, thrown to landfills, right? But then we have a way of mitigating this is through upcycling, and that is the exact topic of our episode today, which is Second Life or Second Lie. When is upcycling greenwashing lie, and when isn't actually useful?
All right, Winston, start us off. You've been talking about the World Cup for before this meeting, I know.
Yep. And so basically I've I saw some articles on the fact that 99% of all those recycled polyester in the industry, in terms of sportswear, they are all sourced from plastic bottles instead of old textiles. And in for a plastic bottle, they can recycle almost 10 times if it's in the beverage industry. But now that bottle is in the synthetic shirt cycle, it breaks the loop and it kind of creates like a linear regression where you just go from plastic bottle right into the shirt and then you go straight down to the landfill. And so that's a really big issue right there. So I'm not sure about all those companies claiming they're recycling those stuff, whether they are actually just doing it for the brand image or are they actually caring about the environment.
That definitely does happen for a lot of the big brands, but I saw a reel recently about basically a North Macedonian factory manufacturer who is taking the World Cup garments and then recycling them, remaking them into other things like hats, bags, accessories, all those things for fans around the world. And I think that's really like a valiant initiative. Although we know that, as Winston said, a lot of brands just use plastic bottles for recycling into these clothes that end up being thrown away anyways.
That was a good point. I certainly agree. This is a really good initiative, and the fact that they're recycling, so much of these World Cup wastes and making them into, really consumable products is a really inspiring thing. Actually, it's an interesting fact to note that football jerseys are among the shortest-lived wardrobe items. They only last on average around 2 years in your average closet, which is actually really surprising because they get outdated, they get worn out, or they just simply get thrown out.
Yeah, that's quite sad, honestly. And I was actually thinking, do you guys think that when brands say recycling, so for example with the plastic bottles, they say 100% recyclable, are they pushing you to discard of it quickly? For example, the football jerseys, or do you think that is so? Do they want you to throw it away quickly so you can buy more, or is that genuinely a respectable initiative in trying to promote environmental sustainability?
I think it's more on consumers' choice whether or not they throw it away. As long as these companies follow making these initiatives are actually beneficial to the environment, then I think it's always a good thing to say that we should support these companies that actually follow the regulation, as Terrence just said. The manufacturing company in Northwestern, yeah.
Actually, yeah, you talking about the plastic bottles actually inspired a big thing I read about just now. Adidas, they made every 2022 World Cup kit from 100% recycled polyester in partnership with Poly for the Oceans. In this case, one could argue that it is greenwashing because you are making these disposable and really non-biodegradable items out of recycled materials, and this could say you're using this to cover up, but actually I don't think so, because you can also argue that they're using this initiative as a more of an motivational source to keep their jersey recycling going, and therefore if demand for the jerseys increase, right, then you can imagine more and more of these plastics being recycled, and that gives them an incentive to recycle even more plastic. So I guess that's a valid point. Yeah.
I think
So
Terrence, you can continue.
yeah, so I do think that it is a good way to achieve like a circular economy, even though sometimes it might be in like the gray area between, as we know, the second life, right? But there definitely needs to be more information, and we need to look into it more closely to determine whether something is greenwashing or not.
Yeah, I think for companies just starting out, I think these initiatives would be great, but then for European beverage industry, they actually formally urge policymakers to prevent fast fashion from creating this illusion of like circularity. And so I think as these mega companies, become more mature in recycling, they probably should consider more on the recycling old fabric.
Yeah, definitely. That just reminded me of the sustainable practices that these companies are doing. H&M collected nearly 16,000 tons of textiles in 2020, right? That seems a lot, right? But then they were all downcycled or exported, so basically they're wasted again. But that's something for you to think about, right? Do they truly know what they're doing, or do they know where they go to? The transparency is another issue, right? But then there's one thing I love about France for this World Cup campaign. Do you know what it is, guys?
The indicator.
Oh yeah, I'm see, it's right here. But it's a pity that they were knocked out early. They deserve more. But actually, I was gonna talk about the environmental policies in France that's preventing all these greenwashing from happening and actually fostering sustainable practices in fashion. In France, there are legal requirements for making circular fashion a thing. They have landmark laws and regulations, legislations, where brands face direct financial penalties for making non-recyclable or disposable clothing, and then they receive financial rewards for truly circular designs. That's impressive.
I do think government should be in on this, and the government should be more proactive in like regulating, so then we can help achieve a more transparent and more sustainable future. But then, unfortunately, some governments do participate in regulatory capture, where they work with these brands, and I suppose the profits do matter more than protecting the environment for them sometimes.
Yeah. So with that, we are going to move on to the next episode because our time has come to an end. In the next episode, we'll discuss carbon credits. That's another interesting thing. Terrence, tell us a bit about carbon credits.
So one of the most interesting things about like the European emission system is that they have a tradable permit system where companies are limited to a certain amount of pollution, and they can trade it as if it's a cap and trade market. And that's a really interesting economic way to approach pollution and then reducing these externalities and this basically harm on the environment.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Some famous example would be like maybe Elon Musk with his Tesla company, his all his revenues basically at the beginning, 50% probably comes from the government, and that's like kind of a loophole for them. But we'll talk more in detail about it next episode. Yeah, pass it back on to Alan.
Yeah. So as always, you guys have fun celebrating Spain's win in the World Cup. We'll see you in the next episode, hopefully really soon. And stay tuned as always, and drop a like and follow us on various platforms. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.